everyone to our coverage of the LEC. Our next matchup is Misfits Gaming versus G2 Esports, and for our reigning champions, the question is if Rekkles has given them the renaissance they were looking for. And I'm going to talk about that with my two, I was going to say desk guests, but there's an absence of a desk. So my two guests, Caedrel and LS. So LS, talk to me about what you have seen from Rekkles and G2 so far, and how you think they've evolved and how they're doing overall.
So I feel like I commented on this earlier on that this iteration of G2 I think is potentially going to have the biggest upside of any Western team ever. Going into Worlds even especially, I mean, I predict that they'll probably end up at Worlds as the first seed from Europe this year. But Rekkles, I think he's the best Western AD carry, and now he's on G2. And G2, I think their best version was when Caps was in mid lane and historically Perks in the marksman position. And I think Rekkles is just a bigger upgrade. And I feel like the freedom that they're going to have, especially as they continue to grow as a team and whatnot, is just going to be way bigger because this guy is just such an insane player. And he also seems like he's at the peak of his career.
I like the way you put that, because obviously Perks was also a great marksman on that role, but there's a difference between that and someone who's been playing the role lifelong. Caedrel, do you agree with the possibilities that that's going to offer to G2, not necessarily immediately, but in the long run? Especially
in the long run, I think. If you think of Rekkles, he's been through so many different metas. He's been through years and years of different AD carry changes, hyper carries, playmaking carries, and although Perks did bring a lot of innovation to the team, shot calling and lots of kind of a what-if factor to G2, I think Rekkles brings a lot more consistency and stability to the roster so that the other players can be a bit more careless on what they pick and be a bit more innovative themselves. So I think Rekkles is just that late game insurance that G2 need, where if Caps is behind, he steps up, which I think G2 kind of lacked a little bit last year.
Unless do you anticipate that we'll see a fundamental change in the way G2 approach games, especially when we get to like the best of fives and whatnot with Rekkles now?
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be huge. I think one of the main gripes people might have saying that Perks could have an edge over Rekkles in is that Perks could play mages, right? And Rekkles, we haven't really seen a whole lot of champion diversity, but I actually got to talk to Rekkles on several occasions last summer, and I felt like the narrative that he might be unmoving in his champion pool and other things of this nature, it's just not true. I think he's actually way more open-minded than any public perception gives him credit for. And I think that his champion pool can evolve and grow. And now having the freedom of the 4 teammates that he has on G2 around to give him that comfort to expand might mean that we might see more enchanters, we might see more mages out of Rekkles as time continues.
Yeah, and I think what made Perks shine especially was the Worlds 2019 meta when it was Xayah Kai'Sa on the AD carry role. He was really popping off on those champs, but as we saw last year, it wasn't too much of that meta anymore. It's more towards Aphelios, Senna, a little bit of Ezreal and Ashe. So I think that when it came to those champions, Rekkles can just be more adaptive and pick them up a lot easier than Perks could.
We'll see indeed what happens in the future. It's looking good so far. Let's talk about Misfits as well, because they unfortunately are a team that is in rapid decline. After good showings in the first week, we haven't really had a lot to write home about with this team. And LSU specifically wanted to look at how they've been drafting for these games and what possibly is going wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, Misfits drafts, they strike me as just really bizarre. If you look at a lot of them, they put a lot of responsibility on themselves in order to get ahead of their opponents early. They opt into this willingly, and it just strikes me as something that's really weird. I mean, you just see the level of early game aggression that they have going on. The one draft that I think that you could say has a little bit more options and versatility in it is the one with Camille, Lilia, Yone, Jhin, and Galio. That one definitely has a lot more forgiveness, has a lot more upside, a lot of mid-game power. But the Olaf, Syndra, Xayah, Rakan, Gnar, champions that aren't really thematically on the same page, puts a lot of onus on them to get ahead of their opponents, and they're not finding advantages, and I also don't know why they would opt into these knife fights with other players in the league.
And I think that if you look at those 3 drafts, every single one of the champions was different in every single role in every single game, which I think is really important. If all of them are playing unique champions, I think they're not really finding a formula to success. Like you look at Schalke, they're just overall good teamfight scaling comps. XL, really hard focus on scaling, and this is what picked them up early wins in the season. And I think that especially for a team like Misfits, you need to find something that works for you, stick to it, and as the season progresses and you pick up these wins, then you can start looking at different ways to play the game, because I think stabilizing yourself early into the spring split is really important, especially if you want to look for playoffs.
So you're saying it's kind of they did the opposite. They first try out a bunch of things that weren't working out, and then actually you have to find the one that works first. But it seems that they do not have the answers as of now. We'll see what happens. This is a chance for Misfits to start the second half of the season on a high note and bring back the magic from week 1. Let's see if it happens.
That was even too optimistic for me, Sjokz. I think it is a good chance for Misfits. I just don't think G2 is the team that's going to give that opportunity.
It's
now,
a tough matchup.
To be fair, they were able to surprise Fnatic, right, in week 1, and they were able to pick up that win. But it has been downhill from there. It has been a bit of a dumpster fire at times for Misfits, and for G2, they're going to bounce back from the defeat to Fnatic. Normally, the team that faces G2 after a defeat is not in for a great time.
Yeah, usually G2 are coming back ready to punch down, beat some kids up, but let's see what Misfits have in store for us as we get in the draft.
Yeah, better than me. And welcome back to the Caster Desk for G2 taking on Misfits. Today and tomorrow, we'll round out the first half of the spring season in 2021. And Misfits started very, very strong, very excitingly during the course of week 1. And I really like how LS phrased the challenges that Misfits have created for themselves with the drafts. A lot of pressure to get ahead, a lot of self-belief, self-reliance in making the right plays, executing well. And the weird thing for me is, and this is what I was talking to you during the week about, Enda, is that I've seen Misfits do well in different areas of the game, but there's so many different problems to solve, different days with different comps. I can't find a thread.
Yeah, it's like, what's that little thing at Ice Age? You know, the little rat-looking thing that's trying to plug up all the holes?
Why do I not know his name? Yes, I'm going to Google this
It's that thing for Misfits. They got it's a lot of holes to plug up. We'll see if they're able to find some consistency here. Scrat, that's the one. And that's Misfits, guys. That's our analogy. No, I think Caedrel really hit something well too there, which was Misfits are trying a lot of different things out, and I think that can be a problem too when it comes to consistency and finding, you know, consistency in composition, consistency in how you play out the rest of your game here. So Misfits, let's get them all on the same page in the draft. I think usually the way that, you know, most teams try to fight G2 is like champions that are a little bit more explosive can go toe-to-toe with G2 in the mid game, because that is really G2's bread and butter. Always has been, always will be.
Now let's see if they can get the comp to make it work. Thresh, Kai'Sa, Rell banned away from G2. They first picked Olaf. Twisted Fate, Udyr, and Gragas removed from Misfits. And I know the moment's gone, but I have to say this. The Misfits bunny, his name's Fidget. If Fidget keeps going down this really stressful path of watching Misfit games, he'll become Scrat. As we turn ourselves to the draft, the AD jungles are still around. Razork will be playing the Graves. Jankos finds himself on the Olaf. Now, it's been banned the 2 previous games. It was open and allowed through. Are you surprised that it's 100% presence so far or not?
I mean, not necessarily. He was like considered so strong previously, but with the nerfs to Gore Drinker, of course, HP nerfs as well as attack speed on his passive got cut down too. I'm surprised to see it to this extent being banned away so much. I still thought we would maybe see it here or there. Again, the idea that usually pro play does lag behind a patch, you know, 1 or 2 weeks as they try to adapt and put some more champions into their pool here. But I do believe that Graves is a pick that is here to stay. Has not been hit in the same way as a lot of these other top jungle picks.
Okay, and then let's see whether or not it'll have an influence today. Razork hasn't had the worst of, you know, seasons thus far, but he's going to be up against it. Renekton and Ryze already. Solo lane is
LS going to be loving the B1 and B2s here. The Ryze definitely a cap specialty though. One that can play the side lanes very well, even with the Twist Fate ban, trying to reach down into that champion pool, grab out another pick with a strong side lane option. Although I do have to say, it surprised me a little bit to see him going for the blind pick. Ryze, we've seen it more as an answer into the likes of a Twisted Fate this year.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And obviously, with solo lanes already, plus you take a look at the fact that the bottom lane has already been target banned. Rekkles and Mikyx now leaving their champion pool for phase 2 and potentially to be pinched even further.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I do like Vetheo going for the Syndra in this one. Syndra, of course, can outrange the Ryze in the early levels. Her Q is very spammable as well, so it is pretty favorable early on in terms of like trying to gain some priority over the middle lane to help out Razork in the jungle too if things get a little bit spicier between the Graves and the Olaf. I think Vetheo is going to be set up for success in this matchup.
And now this is the 3rd time that he's played the champion this season. It is his most played. Following that was 2 games on Zoe, and then a mixture, of course, and again another bot lane ban. So Rekkles will not get his hands onto Sivir. The gangplank has been denied from HiRit, and we've seen some interesting picks from HiRit up in that top lane. I think his Malphite was a bit of a surprise to me a little while ago. We've seen him popping off on the Renekton as well. But when you see the Graves, the Jhin, the Syndra into this beefy front line, I feel like you need some displacement or some tankiness, something to hold back or deal with
Definitely.
a Renekton and an Olaf.
Yeah, I think you need some tankiness. You also need some playmaking, especially for VandeR in the support position. Right now, you have a lot of strong like mid-game fighting options with, you know, a Syndra around the middle lane, a Jhin as well. And if you can get a supportive pick that can initiate, can find those angles where you can attack G2, well, you have a whole lot of damage. You can get in, get a kill, get out very quickly, and that is usually sort of the best way to try to attack G2 in the mid-game.
Okay, so what ADs are now left over here for Rekkles? Xayah still open. Vayne, not going to happen, of course. Blitzcrank and Gangplank were the last 2 bans away here from G2 Esports, furling my eyebrow, as I would assume a top lane pick here, because you know what the solo laners are going to be. You know you can get a soft counter and then see what the G2 bottom lane is.
Exactly. I think especially after you see a Blitzcrank ban, when the support and bot lane isn't chosen either, you're like, wait a second, what am I trying to counter out here? What is G2 trying to pull? What are they trying to play on this one? The immediate thing that jumps out with like a Blitzcrank in the mix is like something like a Tahm Kench, as you know, he tries to gobble up an ally and then Blitzcrank yoinks him away there. Yeah, exactly. Because that ban on its own, standalone, does seem quite odd.
The thing is, I wonder if Grabs is in a bad mood making Mikyx play Tahm Kench. It's not something we're fans of.
He is.
It's not something we're fans of. Rekkles will be running the Senna.
He's like,
Tahm
in
Kench
case the internet goes out, Mikyx, I'm going to need you to press W on Rekkles. That's your only job in this game.
Too soon, dude. Too soon. The thing that I do like about this, the Senna with the Piercing Darkness with the whole kit, right behind Tahm Kench, Renekton, Olaf. I really see the synergies already face to face.
Look, this comp is just map domination from G2, right? You have so many globals to work with here. You're always going to have pressure over side lane, not just because Ryze is going to smash pretty much anyone that faces him, you know, post level 13 a little bit later into the game, but you also have the Senna R, the Tahm Kench R, all of these assist tools to come help out Caps inside. So Misfits, they need to be proactive, they need to attack inside the mid game, and they have the playmaking tools. Like we mentioned, the Sion, the Rakan too, can force fights on their own terms, and they're going to have to be precise with that because the side lane play is never going to favor them.
And what a difficult situation for Kobbe to be in on this Jhin. If at any point Misfits start to fall behind, the number of tools that can jump onto him, Graves, Rakan, Sion, going to be moving forward. Look, the same can be said for Vetheo, of course. Now, conversely, if Misfits can get ahead, they have the initiation tools, the range, and the damage to find the picks. It's Misfits taking on G2. And welcome back to Summoner's Rift for Game 3 of the weekend. Jankos already stepping forward. I think that Undertow missed. That's only how I'm reading that. No HP damage there on Razork, so a little bit of a thumbs up emoji.
Just a warning shot.
Just a warning shot. It's about sending a message, right?
Yeah.
Jankos making it clear what his plan is. Miss skill shots all game. That's the message I'm reading.
That's not the right message we send, and I don't think, but one that Jankos is used to, if anyone is familiar with the Nidalee memes. You'll notice right off the bat, this is going to be your classic fasting Senna for Rekkles, starting out with the sickle, and Mikyx on the TK is also going to be running a TP himself too. So this is actually taking me way back to right around the timeline of Senna release, where the sports often would take the teleport to make sure they could stay in lane, keep farming up a storm.
If Misfits didn't already have a difficult task ahead of them into the Renekton, Olaf, Ryze combination, then you add 3 teleports. And then you add the years of experience on this G2 roster.
Insert a Felios meme.
There's no margin for error, right? And like you said this, Ender, during the course of the draft, that this is a composition that G2, they can just, it's globals, it's play the map. And we know G2 can excel in the 1-3-1s. We know how good they can also be in team fights. And this comp can kind of, you know, mix and match as they see fit.
Yeah, it's going to be tough too, because I feel like even like showing the Syndra very early on, and then all of a sudden there's like a Senna and a Tahm Kench into it as well. That is very good at shutting down a lot of the burst damage. And there's just so much healing on this G2 team as well. Like, you're going to have to start building some healing reduction here if you are Misfits, because frankly, every single champion has, even Caps, who of course has Ravenous Hunter, is going to be sustaining a whole lot, especially when we get later into the game.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, Vetheo with a little bit of an early advantage here. He will be able to push Caps back with those Dark Spheres. And got the early level 2, so hence that. Nothing really to write home about. But as I look at Jankos as well as Razork, Jankos already making his way to the middle lane. The root is going to connect onto Kobbe, but he was able to put enough distance to back away. And Jankos fully spots out. This is a word that you and I talked about weeks ago now.
Yeah.
This is how it is kind of the norm at this level of play, but Jankos can still walk in behind Vetheo, and there's no support from Razork. Ghosting down, undertow, will miss. It was dodged, missed, dodged. It was the signal we sent earlier.
Oh,
No
he had
kidding.
the ward,
I
Vetheo.
know, that's what I don't...
You saw him coming
Yep.
for a century. I mean, I guess he's not expecting Jankos to run mid, he's expecting him to run into the jungle, but that is just a really large blunder from the Misfits mid laner. I would not have expected to see that happen with the early vision, and now he hugs the top side of the lane, which is how you want to play this, and I think in that spot, you should never really be getting punished here by the Olaf, as VandeR walks into a CC, but he's got the tower next to him.
Well, this is already looking problematic as G2 have already got some small advantages. Very good Devour. Mikyx got the flash available to him, holds onto it for as long as he can. But if you look at the minion waves, already being pushed towards Misfits, and Caps still farming mid.
But the thing is, right, like Vetheo did have priority over mid early on, so that's why he's able to move down. And this is what I mentioned in draft, is that Vetheo, in a comfortable matchup in the early laning phase, should be able to use that to help out Razork. And that's going to shut down some of the options here from Jankos, of course, as he leaves the lane. Now that wave is going to be building up, but it does buy some space for Razork, who noticed there was no red buff on Jankos to sneak his way into the jungle.
Now, will this get him into trouble? If you look at the minimap, Vetheo is currently dealing
he's good
with minions. Jankos will start to step away. He clears out the Krugs. Ends up being a little bit of a smite fight here. No, Jankos is not going to be able to get it. Razork gets away with it.
Yeah. Caps was, he's on no mana right now, walked into the top river, was considering a recall himself, and now even, I think Vetheo might have seen Caps, because they're trying to walk up here and maybe spot him out. Caps just going to go underneath the tower, farm the wave as best he can here, but I like the early move there from Razork to take away the enemy red buff here and continue to track Jankos.
HiRit will teleport back into the top lane. He's got himself 2 cloth armors, the Doran shield. He's already down a sizable amount of CS, I think, as you would expect into the Renekton matchup. And I think if we do have a moment or two, can we explore the difference in experience between jungle and mid laners?
Let's do it.
And you brought up an idea with our stats team during the course of the week, talking about how different it can be. Could I share some numbers with you?
Yeah, hit me with it.
The number of games that the mid-jungle duos have across all 10 teams in the LEC is listed on the left-hand side of your screen. This is correct, okay? G2 Esports have got 734 combined LEC games between Jankos and Caps, obviously not at the same time. Jankos alone has 468 LEC games, Caps 266. Contrast that to Misfits at 54, which is predominantly Razork from last year.
Yeah, and the thing that I find really interesting about this, obviously there's a big difference, but also, you look at it, bring it back for just a second, I want it, is that if you look at the scoreboard, is that it replicates the standings very closely. I think Excel maybe as an outlier down there at the bottom. Miky's going to be fine, he's going to walk out of this, but I think it does come down to a large fact that mid-jungle do control a lot of how the game is played, have always been for a very long time, and when you get these duos that are so established, understand how to take over a map completely, well, the proof is exactly in that right there, is that as long as you play together, the better your team's going to be.
And I think I really just want to try to summarize that takeaway, because Ender kind of proposed to me in prep for this cast that the standings and the teams that are doing well in the current meta and the current gameplay, as HiRit's in trouble, are the teams that have the most experience between the junglers and the mid lane players. And when you see those numbers, you see the stark difference, and also you see Vetheo being forced to flash when, you know, Jankos was on a ward. there is something to be said about experience and comfort at this level.
It's also just, frankly, the LEC this year is very young. I mean, players that have been around like ERLs for a very long time, but in terms of LEC actual stage experience, very low compared to previous years, do you feel like here. So these new teams, these fresher faces, have a large challenge ahead of them in terms of challenging the top teams, in terms of challenging a G2 here, for example, but HiRit wants a fight.
Well, this is what you said in draft, Ender, that you wanted to see playmaking from the Misfits comp, and they've got themselves that. Vetheo will be able to find the stun into Wunder, but Wunder buys so much time with Cull of the Week. First blood to Razork and Misfits.
And that's exactly what we want to see from Misfits, right? Jungle, mid, top, all working together to move out of their lanes, find the punish, and continue to support Razork in this early invade. Caps is moving over, but Vetheo is on the TP coming back in, but Razork, he doesn't know Caps is right behind him.
The Realm Warp is there available, teleport coming down as well. Blast Cone not going to be able to be picked up, and just punished for a little bit of a greedy play there, and the kill was secured by Jankos' Olaf.
Just praising him. Just praising him. Just need to take things a little bit more slowly here. Of course, was trying to get a full push in the top side and didn't necessarily expect or respect the fact that Caps could just walk it over. You'll see the fight again. It is Misfits playing with that mid priority with a numbers advantage. Even their bot lane is moving up, and that's why Caps can't even port into this fight and commit into a 3v3. I think it'd be losing anyway for the side of G2, but that bot lane movement up was definitely good map play from the rest of Misfits, and here we go. What happens here? Okay, so they knew Caps was walking.
Like two ships passing in the night. I mean, look, I do think, you know, again, you mentioned something, and I'm going to push this just a moment, but like the fact that Caps didn't Realm Warp in or TP into the fight, knowing that Wunder was going to go down, that's a bit of heads up, comes a little bit of experience, but then when you see Razork sticking around, he gets punished. G2 have got 1,000 gold lead. Razork is now once again under some threat. Mikyx stepping forward, end of the line comes out, Rune Prison locks Razork down, he's forced to use collateral damage defensively. And look at that heal there from Rekkles onto Caps. The engage from VandeR. Scatter the Weak is on cooldown from Vetheo.
Oh, Caps got out!
Ultimate. Caps manages to escape with his life, and it's Olaf running amok. Vetheo forced to flash for his life. Razork flashes over the wall as well, and now Kobbe jumps onto Mikyx. HiRit is left alone outside of the pit, and the curtain is called. This is looking good for Misfits if they can find the last few hits. Jankos escapes with his life. Scatter the Weak comes out in a two-man route from Rekkles. Sends Vetheo to the fountain. It's one kill to two.
It's such a tense fight right there, and that shows some of the class of G2, like in the moments, like very close to getting kills, but then turning around at the right moment, everyone showing up to make sure they could save Private Jankos, get him out of that tough situation. They did! They got him out with just a sliver remaining.
Oh, such a good reference. As HiRit was unable to
I'll be honest, I've never seen the movie.
At all. It's exceptional. It's exceptional. Saving Private Jankos is one of the best. We're watching it live right now, but G2, they just pushed that lead even further. They've got CS advantages in top and mid, and we need to look at total gold, obviously because of fasting Senna, which I forgot about for a brief moment. But if you look at total gold for the respective lane, 5.6k to 4.9k, so it's plus 700 in the duo.
And Rekkles cashed in on a couple of turret plates in the bot lane. That was one of the fallouts of that top lane, you know, Herald play. Not the one we just saw, but a little bit before that when the junglers traded 1 for 1. It was because Kobbe and VandeR did both leave. Kobbe, of course, did get back towards the bottom side, but 2 plates were taken in the meantime. And as you can see, Mikyx also doing a very good job. Actually has a little bit more gold than Kobbe, even as the quote-unquote support there. Although realistically, this lane, like, I don't know why we call it fasting Senna, because she's literally just supporting a tank. It's just a support, and then the difference is not fasting versus farming Senna. The difference is it's a tank instead of an ADC.
I always found just how egotistical ADCs and bot laners are, that the duo is called fasting Senna, when in actual fact,
it's messed up, dude.
Feeding Tahm Kench.
Yeah, just don't say that on Reddit. Reddit loves AD carries.
But that's my point, right? It's just bias. Like, a decade of this game is just programmed everyone to only look at bot laners.
But you know, if you cry enough,
get their time.
Look, if you cry enough, eventually Riot will buff your role. So if Medic cries enough, they'll get supports buffed.
I'm on board with this. I'm on board with this. This is the feeding Tahm Kench lane, as that duo we talked about earlier will be able to set themselves up a kill. Not entirely fair. I'm just trying to force it. I'll stop before I kill it. The Dragon was picked up by Misfits. Is now the rest of the Misfits roster are making their way forward. The Unstoppable Onslaught was already used there from HiRit. And now he's going to keep chasing Jankos down. No flash available, no blast cone to get away from, and Razork will be able to pick a kill.
Look at the map. Look at the map, Trevor. Yes, they got the Drake, but plates in bot, plates in top as well. So when you actually look back and take stock of it, it is going to be a gold positive play for G2. Misfits committed everything to getting that dragon, and G2 simply said, we're not going to fight you. And this is something we're going to see continue throughout the game, because remember, for G2, while they do have good team fighting, skirmishing tools, it's mostly about like activating side lane tools and using these globals to their advantage. Misfits need to use their playmaking to get fights.
Just like this, can Razork make it in time? The smokescreen will buy a lot. He's got the double buffs. Collateral damage is available, and HiRit do not stick around too long. Flash is available for one.
I like this though. Razork is just timing out the Dominus. Or, okay, slow down. Time it out, please.
Careful, end of the line. Didn't do a whole lot. Collateral damage comes out, and Wunder manages to escape.
No!
HiRit blows the flash as well. The idea was so good. The execution was so not.
Oh no, the map play. Caps is in the bot lane, and so is everyone else, Trevor.
It's a disaster for Fidget and the Misfits, scratching their heads, trying to save the Peanut from the impending Armageddon. And G2, 5 kills to 2, plus 4,000 gold at 12.5 minutes. Dude, the gold lead has skyrocketed so quickly because of the plates, because of the kills, and Vetheo will get taken out. End of the line comes out. Razork will get at least one back, but I think the plate gold still went over. I didn't quite see.
Yeah, Riot, you didn't go hard enough on the Olaf. Can we get a little bit more taken off that, please? My man just sprinting at a Syndra underneath the turret.
Now, the thing that is difficult to call out, right, is that because of the advantages in every single lane that G2 have been able to accrue, Misfits are forced to make these quasi-desperate plays, or really...
They are desperate
ones.
plays, yeah.
Thank you. Because if they don't, they're just going to fall further and further and further behind. And now HiRit, you will get jumped on by Caps. Here comes VandeR, manages to get a very good engage with the quickness. Good knock up there as well. Caps, the turn and burn. 2 quick kills for Misfits. They are still in a deficit. It's 3K. Yeah. They are staying scrappy and close in gold, but keep your eyes on the minimap of the tower.
Yeah, so that was a very nice play for Misfits. The last ones have backfired against them. You saw, multiple turrets falling, or like turret plates falling rather, when they went for play. This time, not the same story. Misfits were just able to punish there, and I think whenever we see, a Rakan plus a Sion making a play like this, they can make those snap picks. They have the burst damage, try and get a kill, and then reorganize themselves onto the map. And it's with the same play we saw earlier. Razork going for the blue buff in Vey, but the key difference here is that Wunder actually wanted to commit into the fight. Maybe didn't realize VandeR was also on the prowl up towards the top side, and TP in as well, realized as well, G2, we can't actually activate our globals if they're on cooldown, and TPs and good vision denial there for Misfits was able to come out on top.
So nicely done. Keeps him close in terms of kills. It's a minute 40 until the next dragon. The first mythics have been picked up a little bit across the board. Mikyx with the chem tank. This build and this comp is actually going to mess with medics stat tracking of medics, mythics and legendaries for supports. I think it will help out a lot.
Well, Rekkles is the support. Should be counted as the support.
It should. I don't think that it will. It's an interesting question for the stats team, which I don't think we should decide right now in the heat of the moment. But taking a look at the rest of the state of the map here now. Rift Herald number 2 will be started in a moment. Here it is under some pressure in the top lane, albeit you don't really want to dive a Sion. He's down 30 CS. In the mid lane, Vetheo is down 15 CS. And in the bot lane, I think net total gold is significantly in favor of G2 because of the towers and the place they've been able to accrue, and they've got themselves the Herald, which means they can get that lane pressure and lane control to once again enable this global composition they put together.
Bot lane tower already gone. Mid lane very short to fall. 45 seconds away from Roshan Drake, and this is one that G2 definitely can decide to fight over. Drop the Herald that will get them the tower, and Misfits, how much damage they get on Jankos?
Good amount of damage onto Jankos. Devour by some time as VandeR gets rooted. The undertow misses Razork.
Actually, poor play there from G2. Jankos should not have used his ultimate. It should have just been an eat, and it should have been a little bit faster. Jankos took a lot of damage, lost his ultimate as well, and there's a red buff, so if he takes that, he'll be able to sustain a whole lot with his W, but Razork is actually in the jungle, actually trying to find Jankos here. No ultimate on the jungler.
Quickness involved, will not find the target. Jankos' ghost gets him out of range of VandeR, who committed the flash.
But watch this, while the fight's going on, Caps is porting up into the top lane. They're trying to get a pick. They're not playing for the Drake, they're playing for a kill.
All right, HiRit and Caps. HiRit is under pressure from Caps. He's taking a drive around Summoner's Rift. Now we turn our attention. Mikyx and Rekkles, they're looking for Razork. Collateral damage comes out. Piercing Darkness deals some damage as Razork gets the shield for now.
Double TP.
No, in from behind. This is crazy action absolutely everywhere. everywhere. HiRit and Caps are fighting in the top lane. Now they're fighting in the bottom lane. Caps will find his man, but on the other side of the world. And at the end of the day, it's G2 that pick up the kill.
Yeah, these fights are all over the place. They're very crazy, and it comes down to these split decisions. And Wunder's TP was good. The same TP from here was not. The rest of his team was on the retreat. He's stuck in an unplayable situation, so he will fall, and G2 get away with the Ocean Drain.
I got lost. I literally got lost.
There's a lot going on.
Because my brain saw HiRit and went, no, but you're still driving top lane. No, he was not. Teleported into the bottom, G2 get the dragon, they get themselves the kill, and they maintain that lead.
All right, this is the play in the top lane here. It's like, all right, gonna taxi Sion out of here, and then apparently lives in a world where there's teleportation too, so I'm not really sure if being a taxi driver is the profession you want. But regardless, Misfits, you can see the idea of TPing into the bot side from here is an alright one. The problem is Razork is far too low, so Misfits are never going to fight. Also, Wunder TP's in, cutting Vetheo off from the rest of his team. So now, what was a flank TP is now an int TP, as he's between 5 players with no ally in sight.
That TP sucked, as a good friend of ours once said.
Yeah.
And it ends up meaning HiRit goes down for the first time. He has still got the ability to engage, but it's starting to get more and more scary with 2 towers secured. With the dragon picked up for G2, it means that soul timer is reduced. Mikyx picked up across the board, double gold drinkers. One for Wunder, one for Jankos. And now Misfits, again, they're looking for a pick. I mean, this is what you wanted to see from the composition. You wanted to see playmaking. You want to see them going in. There's the flash. That'll dance into the knockup and the quickness. And Vetheo will be the one that gets the kill. He is on a killing spree. But what is the rest of G2 doing? Middle and bot lane.
Because my concern with Misfits is like that is a well-executed, like how they need to play the game, what they need to be looking
but
for.
At what cost?
Yeah, but what cost, and also like what other tools are in their kit other than teaming up and, you know, killing people on the side lane. Maybe if they could find, you know, G2 grouped up with like 3 players in mid and force that fight, that could look a little bit better. They could regain some map control. But every time they make a side lane play, G2 have full control over mid.
That's a lot of damage coming out. Curtain call as well. I mean, look,
that's good.
Every single piece of CC they need to land did. It did cost a couple ultimates, of course, but Caps is down, and they've stalled it out, and they've stopped the side lane pressure.
And look, we don't care about losing our ultimates. Like, Misfits completely happy with getting kills in situations like these, and I don't want to come off as, like, nagging on Misfits here, because they did just play those 2 situations well, but I do feel like they are drastically limited by their composition, so that is one of the only things they can accomplish from a deficit. Because G2 now have an advantage, unless we're seeing G2 overstep like they did, especially in that bottom lane. I think Caps was a little bit too far forward there. Well, those opportunities aren't going to be available, and I think that G2's sort of composition is at a point where, with a large advantage, they can just sort of run you down here and run you over.
Yeah, despite the fact Misfits are clawing this deficit back, compositionally speaking, and how G2 can play the next few minutes of the game. I mean, look at this. This blue buff, it has been the source of much Misfits focus, and it may be the source of much Misfits pain. Razork will get taken down once more for a blue buff invade.
Run you down and run you over.
Yeah.
Now G2 with 5 players can easily do that one, and Jankos doesn't want to stop now.
He does not. He's going to look at VandeR, then just get the undertow. The undertow, reckless swing. Where's the undertow? Watching, rooted in place. Ragnarok is on cooldown. It's already been used. HiRit completed the ultimate and manages to get the knockup. Jankos goes low. He survives thanks to the help of Rekkles. And the first kill of this fight will be HiRit. He gets popped into his passive. Vetheo is now forced backwards as Mickey does get chunked out. Piercing Darkness from Rekkles will help take out the passive from HiRit Sion.
It's your daily Senna Soul check-in. 100 stacks just picked up by Rekkles' Senna at 20 minutes on a pretty quick pace here, especially if you're more familiar with the AD carry Senna. That's a whole lot of bonus range here for the champion. Rekkles is a fierce force to be reckoned with. The Kraken Slayer there as well. And I have to say, we are now starting to see some of the healing reductions items come out. And I think a big one is the Executioner's Calling there for Razork, but is it going to be enough? Because there's so much on the side of G2 between all of their different champions that I'm not convinced that Misfits can actually kill multiple players on G2. And I brought it up earlier, but Vetheo Syndra doesn't offer a whole lot in the value of this composition just because of all the defensive options G2 have.
Yeah, I mean, that 2,000 gold lead that I was just trying to downplay is now ballooned to 5,000. Yeah. It's 30 seconds until the Cloud Drake. Misfits are in such a difficult scenario. Now again, we're heading towards like wrapping up the first half of the season. Misfits 2 wins, 5 losses to G2's 5 wins, 2 losses. There are things that you can look at the Misfits games and go, they've got some skirmishes, they've got some mechanical plays, but they're drafting these so many question marks. I mean, Ellis was very, very strong on the AD, and I know you and I have explicitly discussed this several times on broadcast. These are things that you can tweak. But right now, when you look at this game, it's going to need something magical to deal with the experience and the composition G2 have put together. This Ocean Drake will be most likely uncontested here. As G2 have got solid vision, they can see Misfits moving in. You can see also Razork and Vetheo moving to just water Baron. That's going to now be the focus.
Yeah, pretty much the only way for Misfits to get LS back in their camp is to drop some Twitch primes immediately. I mean, they're doing everything else right. You know, Shield Bow on the Graves, going for the Negan build. You have Leandries. You have a Moonstaff.
If I wanted to hear LS, I'll ask you. I don't need budget LS in the cross. So thank you for the try.
Whoa, dude!
Thank you for the try. But G2 will secure their 4th tower of the game.
I mean, deserve that.
HiRit is being melted. I think you did. I think you did. Maybe Twitch chat can let us know. Did he deserve it? Yes or no? I don't know if a producer will throw that up for you or not. Nevertheless, G2 again, just 2 quick towers. And this is what you expected, right? Their composition is activated. They've got the ability to play multiple lanes. And now Razork is being run down by this farmed, fed Tahm Kench. Remember, it's
that's
from
a fast Tahm
lane.
Kench, too.
It's from the fed TK lane, right? I'm changing. It's not fasting Senna. It's the fed TK. He's not quite James Bond yet. He's got to earn 1 more assist. Get it?
Yeah, 007, same as Rekkles. Yeah,
Nice.
That's a really good original reference. Trevor never heard that one.
Just checking if you understood it.
Oh man.
I mean, this is also
I'm more of a Jason Bourne guy myself.
No, not bad, not bad. Is there a new actor that played him? Because it was Matt Damon, and then I think
they did the thing where there were like multiple Jason Bournes or something, or like because they're all in like the Treadstone deal.
like James Bond. Yeah. Kids.
No, but like there were multiple like alive at the same time or something. I don't know. The lore's a little complex there. I haven't.
It is a little
recently.
strange.
All right, that's a TP.
Okay.
Woo!
Did that TP suck?
No, that put a smile on my face. Reporting in for the fight, Trevor.
Absolutely are. VandeR's gonna get caught inside a cage as the Ragnarocking Olaf steps forward. Decimating Smash wouldn't have done anything anyway, but the scat of the week is solid. VandeR goes for the quickness and the engage into Mikyx.
They can't kill anyone!
There's not enough damage. There's not enough healing reduction. There's not enough itemization.
No!
Or is there? Mikyx gets the perfect devour as Vetheo finally gets 1 kill back. Now, admittedly, I sold Misfits short. They've got 1. They don't get the 2nd just yet. Finally, Mikyx does go down, and Misfits, they turn what I thought was an instant loss of a fight into 2 picks.
I legitimately cannot believe the Misfits got away with a couple of kills in that fight. Maybe even a turret on top of that. Okay.
That's a surprise. It did not look like it was going to. So in the replay, how did Misfits manage to make this work?
My skin's so cute, actually. I like it. All right, so flash and a TP blown from Wunder, and that's the power of a B2 Renekton. I believe I've heard once or twice. And then, yeah, let's get us into the fight. Perfect. All right, speed up. Yep. Excellent. All right, so a lot of damage goes down to VandeR at the start of the fight. And G2 haven't done too much damage just yet. Jankos lost a lot of his health bar as well. A good disengage there from Vetheo. Then VandeR thinks he can go in. And that's where I was really concerned for Misfits. Like, why are we going in there? Because, again, the healing is a little bit too much. But you'll notice that G2 sell Wunder out completely. Mikyx eats him, spits him back. No, Wunder was trolling! Why are you walking that direction? It was Wunder's fault, not G2's. He's trying to juke his teammates.
He managed to juke himself. Lag. Oh, there we go. Again, too soon. Too soon. But look, Misfits, they get themselves 2 kills. It is still such a difficult freaking scenario to be in. Solid damage there from Vetheo. I mean, it's just range, right? They managed to survive the initial onslaught, the initial engage, and then because they could keep G2 at arm's length, their range allowed them to get the kills.
Unironically, he's getting a ton of value out of the Leandries burn there as well against a lot of these high HP targets. on the side of the G2, and Misfits trying to play with the brush. Again, Rakan so good at these snap type engages onto G2, but G2 now are going to slow it down and play a little more respectfully, or are they?
Onslaught can come in. That's a good devout from Mikyx. He's learned to play the TK. There will be a root coming down onto VandeR. Locks him into place. Wunder survives once again. Gets caught out and burned alive by Vetheo. Razork loses his life in the exchanges. Now Vetheo will get run down. The kill is just about secured. Decimating Smash comes out, and finally, last shot picked up by Rekkles. VandeR running for his life, as now Caps will find HiRit, but Kobbe can come to save the day. If he gets a deadly flourish, that might root just one, and Caps, I think, sidestepped it. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of G2.
Where are G2 going to go off of this? They're very fast. They could just sprint over towards the Baron. Razork dead for another 15 seconds. Vetheo would have TP when he respawned in 25, but by then, Wunder would already be back on the map, and they...
G2 Esports will secure this Baron in a moment or two. The curtain is called and the body blocking comes out. 7.5 make that 8,000 gold lead for G2 Esports. This is an entertaining game to watch, and it's about to get spicier.
Oh, Razork, you're running into a Ryze!
That might not be problematic as the Decimating Smash comes out. HiRit's in trouble. Razork will get some support. Caps buys time thanks to the Hourglass. He goes golden. HiRit in zombie form will get some shots off. So Baron to G2 plus another kill. Blue buff is going to kill Misfits.
G2 should not go back for the Drake. They actually have really good push pressure on this middle lane. Maybe things slow down too much, so Misfits will be able to get back in time. But yeah, I like this. Jankos, the only one sent back to the Drake, and the rest of the G2 are just sprinting down mid.
VandeR escapes for now. No stun from Vetheo. The mid inhibitor will be the focus.
Look how fast Mikyx is!
He is motoring thanks to that chem tank. Razork's going to step in from the side lane. Vetheo looking. Scout of the week will fall short of the true DPS champions for G2, and it's a 10,000 gold lead. The inhibitor's one shot away. It will be picked up as Kobbe's forced to use that Gale Force to escape to safety. Devour from Mikyx will find a target. Caps forced to flash away defensively. He's being chased and run down. Razork and VandeR, they get the kill, but they've got super minions to deal with, and Mikyx will be the next target. Now, Ender, we have had a lot of fun this game, but Misfits have got super minions to deal with. They've got 40 seconds, and they don't have the dragon.
G2 I mean, just got every objective on the map. They got the inhibitor in mid lane too. Yes, they lose 2 players at the end. Yes, a big shutdown goes onto Razork after being able to get the kill onto Caps, but honestly, G2 are not going to be too much worse for wear. It's a good fight, again, for Misfits, using the numbers advantage, or not really numbers advantage, but the TP, rather, for HiRit to come around from the flank off of his reset. But it's really just a situation where G2 stayed for a long time on the map and really wanted that inhibitor.
Also, did Mikyx fail flash there? I think
he did. We were just going to try and ignore it.
No, I have to call that out. Mikyx fail flash there, you know, on that being fed TK, not the fasting center. A little bit more seriously, though, Ender, can you remind me, during the course of the draft, you said something along the lines of you wanted to see Misfits get scrappy, or you wanted to see them looking for skirmishes, something along those lines. They're even in kills here, like 14 to 12.
Kills don't matter.
I know that they don't, but the way that G2 is playing right now, it's sloppy, right? If another fight like that happens when the Baron is up, and there's a possibility, like, that could be a way to get back in there, and like crazier things have happened.
True.
I got that feeling.
Yeah, I'm just not really convinced. I think G2 always have this default of playing multiple lanes. Now they have the Baron. You see 1-2-2. This is exactly what you want with Tahm Kench and his partner in mid lane, ready to rotate around. It's cloud map too, so they don't even need to port in. They can just sprint between the 2 lanes, and Misfits do not have the tools ready to defend against the siege.
I mean, that would be a death knell as well. If Cloud Soul were to be picked up by G2 on the way that they're playing multiple lanes already.
Here we go. This is the fight they want.
If it goes that long, Realm Warp comes up from Caps. It's interrupted! Vetheo gets the kill. Ender, when do you start to believe? Wunder forced to flash. Dominus throw down. Look at the minimap. Look at the picture-in-picture. G2 Esports are looking for another inhibitor. Misfits find 2 more kills. That evens out the kill score, but the inhibitor stays standing. This will buy some time for Misfits, and ever the optimist is Trevor Quickshot, Henry.
You be the good cop, I'll be the bad cop.
The super minions will give Misfits some much needed farm and gold. Now, it is still so heavily G2 favored. Please, please do not misunderstand what I am saying. However, this dirty G2, they might get mud on their face if they make too big of a mistake.
Yeah, basically, if you look at that last play, Misfits are able to fully commit into that fight bot side because Mikyx and Rekkles had committed into top lane, and they're not able to instantly, get down towards bot. So G2 say, we're not even going to consider porting in Tahm Kench with his actual TP. The only way we're going to make this play is if it's with an Abyssal Voyage. He's not in range for that one. So great interrupt there from Vetheo to stop the port coming through from Caps. Of course, they're able to convert it into a second kill onto Wunder. But again, there's nothing really to be had on the map. G2, the game's not going to end for them. Like, they're not going to be able to win some random fight here and then go for an end. They're waiting for, of course, the Baron to spawn up. I even wonder, how committed they play around a potential Cloud Soul here, because Misfits, it's going to be very hard to reclaim territory on the map. Again, G2, all they have to do is rein it in now that we're a minute away from things spawning up, and if they don't, have some sort of side lane blunder, then they're fine.
If it was any other team, G2 rein it in with the way this is played out?
Yeah, but G2 are also the team that will troll for 10 minutes and then say, no, it's over now.
Look at that damage onto Razork.
I got a soul check-in, 170 souls on the Senna.
Ridiculous. Angry Bee Rekkles, by the way, 308. Rapid Fire Cannon Rage Blade Kraken Slayer. Unkilled this game. The KDA player himself, Vetheo, said that last week. I remember. Such flame, and it's 45 seconds until Cloud.
Yeah.
It's 50 seconds to Baron, so you have to assume if G2 have the position, they should be able to get both. And look at the minimap, by the way. Caps was pushing top, Wunder was pushing bottom, VandeR's gone for the engage, but he's found really nothing. Ragnarok comes down, and that is an obliterated VandeR, but good damage in return onto Wunder. Devour has now been used, but that is a death for Misfits for nothing in return. Mikyx is looking for a target, gets pushed back by Scout of the Week.
Wunder has TP to get back into this fight as well. Mikyx goes down low, is going to be killed, but Vetheo, can he stay alive?
Why would he use the ultimate on the support? It may have bought just enough time. The curtain call comes out. That's one, that's two. Caps is untouched, unfazed, but Vetheo, Scout of the Week, forces Wunder backwards. They will be able to hold for now. Cloud Drake is up. 5 seconds for Baron.
Trevor, Rekkles has a bonus 225 auto attack range. He's about to hit 200 stacks on this Senna. How do you fight against that?
Jhin's ultimate. No, I mean, Cloud Soul secured by G2 Esports. 33 minutes into the game with 30 kills between the teams. The Soul is picked up. 8 towers for G2 and 2 for Misfits. Rekkles, look at this range.
He's got 90% crit chance from his passive alone.
That is shocking. Vetheo's running for his life. Ragnarok and Ghost has been used. Razork dashes away to safety. Baron is the focus. Misfits, this is the make or break play.
Yeah, G2 Caps over on the top side. He could just go for an inhibitor. I don't think G2 actually want to force this fight. They're just trying to push Misfits away from the mid lane where Caps is pushing up mid.
HiRit is just being melted down by Rekkles' range. Jankos has got no Ragnarok, but he doesn't get caught up by VandeR's engage. Enough time to spam the emote. And Caps has been pushed away.
Razork!
Engage! Razork can't find the damage! The hourglass from Caps! That keeps him alive! The Devour into the knockup and the dash back again! VandeR runs for his life. Nobody yet has died, but there goes Wunder! Kobbe puts Core Drinker! The heal is gigantic, but he can't find the kill. Now there's the quick draw forward. Wunder down to 400, 700 HP. Continues to get melted. He dashes away with a slice. I don't know if he's still got the dice. Nobody died!
Unreal! The hero save from Mikyx keeping Caps alive. HiRit.
Let's go again as HiRit face plants into the wall. The onslaught was definitely stoppable. And we reset.
All right, G2 are very fast now with the Cloud Soul, so kind of hard to chase them down. As what's that replay we're seeing in the bottom corner of your screen? We're seeing a very fast Mikyx sprint forward onto Vetheo. Just getting pushed back a whole lot. I don't know what that was about.
I'm not quite sure. Maybe the observers can let us know. Syndra used Flash and Tahm Kench used Flash. This must be important for the impending team fight. Thank you, observers. You guys are next level right now. Rekkles, can we do a souls check just before this next fight?
I got this for you. I got this.
Let me know. What are we at?
206. That's 250 bonus range, 154.5 attack damage. That is a 100% crit chance. And of course, the overlap there with the items, it turns into lifesteal, of course.
That is ridiculous. HiRit is being chunked down. How much longer will this game go? There's playing with your food, and then there's not playing great. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Very, very carefully here. But we've stayed even. That long, drawn-out fight that has taken us from top to middle to bot lane multiple times this game is going to happen again because there's an Elder, there's a Baron, and Misfits have shown they are more than willing to just chuck everything at G2. But the problem is, can they get through what Rekkles is, the damage he's going to be able to put out?
And can they even get to him? That's the bigger problem for me, is just the distance he can pump out the DPS from. G2 have not been able to find this Baron yet, and they're going to use Jankos to push up the top wave. Again, Misfits need to be creative now. VandeR does have his flash. We're going to try and get back into the backline. No flash on Rekkles, no flash on Caps.
And no TP either.
Yeah, they do always have to keep in mind there's going to be the Tahm Kench ready with the W, a QSS on Rekkles, a Zhonya's on Cap. So those are the tools that need to be baited out potentially before VandeR gets in, or if he blows something like a Zhonya, well then Vetheo has to follow up with a Scat of the Week. But Rekkles can just punch this Baron down from over the wall.
Look at that. Jankos is still sticking on it. Razork chucks up that smoke screen. That'll buy some time. That's how you delete the range. Get a smoke screen on Rekkles if you can somehow get to him. Caps pushing on the mid. There's no TP for Vetheo. There's no TP for Caps, but Caps' Realm Warp will get him into the action quicker. End of the line does nothing. Baron down to 3,000. Baron down to 2,000. Baron not going to be the focus just yet, waiting for the burst. VandeR is jumping on top there of Wunder.
Oh, they killed Jankos!
That's Jankos dead. Jankos is killed. Wunder wasn't able to stop that anymore, but look at the damage onto HiRit. Rekkles gets chunked to 50%. Scout of the Week comes out. Dawning Shadow will do so much, but the collateral damage will not. And G2 reset. Misfits kill buys them time.
Yeah, Misfits, they kill the jungler, but they still don't feel like they can immediately run over to the Baron. Again, Misfits cannot trap themselves inside the pit, especially as red side here. They would just get completely destroyed in there by Senna. They're still going to port in. They're still going to try for this play, but they have to deal with Rekkles. They cannot allow him to get free auto attacks down.
Sjokz, you were right. I was wrong. You talked about it at the beginning of this game. Misfits have a chance to prove something. This might just be the moment. Wunder can slice and dice over the wall. Baron is secured. Misfits have Baron, but they are
Watch
stuck inside
Rekkles.
the pit. Rekkles is shooting fish in a barrel or bunnies in a pit. Wunder dashes forward the slice and dice, the Kobbe Meek. It is Caps that gets himself a shutdown. But how much more can they do? G2 are a little bit split up. Misfits can't find the damage just yet. His HiRit in zombie form will try to chase down Rekkles. He's bought time. And G2 may have just done it. They've got themselves 3 kills. There are 2 members of Misfits with the Baron, though.
Wait a second. I think G2, they're going to try and go for this fight.
What? They managed to get the kill. Rekkles is down for the first time this game. VandeR's running for his life, and Razork is doing work. Quick draws away to safety. VandeR gets popped by Caps. Here comes Jankos. And Razork gets blown up, but has that board in
Trevor,
time?
that might be the game. They've been pinging this the whole time. The wave in bot lane. Caps is going to port on over. They do not have Baron buff. And there will be respawns in 20 seconds. That's enough to get 2 inhibitors here. I don't feel like it will be enough for G2 to commit and try to end the game. Still, the base has been completely opened up, yet Misfits are somehow hanging in close in the team fights.
Straight up, Misfits, you are scratched this game. For anybody that has seen Ice Age and knows what that little rat can do, he fights, he scrambles, he never goes down. And somehow, they're able to find Rekkles.
Yeah, so G2 from over the wall, it's just great play. Caps immediately destroys Vetheo there, and there's too many ranged threats. The Ryze as well as the Senna that Misfits have to deal with, they're trapped in the pit because Caps goes all the way around on this walkabout. It's really smart play from him. He knows the rest of his team has the damage. Rekkles can do it, Wunder can do it, and as long as Caps make sure there's no way over that wall, well, Misfits are going to be in a whole lot of trouble. From this point, I like the decision to camp inside of this bush while Caps was going for the reset, and it does get them the kill. The problem is Caps and Jankos too coming through mid were able to try and run them down.
I mean, the moral victory there, taking out the unkilled Rekkles. Caps was able to pick up the kill onto VandeR before Razork is taken down himself.
But Trevor, during the replay, there was an Elder Dragon.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
Yep. 10,000 gold lead still in favor of G2. 20 kills to 19. Ender, you have to admit, Misfits, they made you think. You know, when you watch this game play out, there have been some bold calls,
yes,
Cotton,
sir.
And not all of them worked out.
No, they haven't. I do have to check in again. 230 on the Senna. So continuing to move on forward here. At some point, Rekkles is probably just going to start farming a little bit more once he doesn't need those stacks. But G2, they want the 3rd and final inhibitor of the game. They have the Elder Soul. Which means that Misfits cannot hope to challenge them in a team fight. And now with super minions inside the base, with the range of Senna to siege down on these turrets, Misfits will be forced to pull the trigger.
And there's absolutely no way Misfits want to fight. The Elder Dragon buff alone makes this so difficult. When you see how close these fights are played, when you see how much range and damage Rekkles has, he could 1v5.
Yeah, and all Rekkles has to do is start hitting the towers instead of champions. They're going to go down oh so quickly from a mile away. Punches Razork right between the eyes. And Misfits, they have to go in at some point.
The round warp was just a bait there. Didn't really do anything. Vetheo is forced low, forced to flash away. Jankos
Razork's huge!
Down. Razork jumps forward, but the hourglass. Cap stays alive.
Nice!
They get the kill. 5 versus 4. Misfits, that is just what they need. But the next turrets are starting to go low.
Razork is going God mode in a couple of these team fights, doing a real good job on this Graves, and they're holding off the push. G2 are still inside the base. Misfits, can they find an angle for a fight?
There is no ways that they can turn this around. Surely not. But it is 5 versus 4. It's still into Elder. The minions have all been killed, but Rekkles doesn't care. Rekkles outranges every single thing in the known Summoner's Rift universe. Super minions pouring inside the base.
Flash is going to be up in the next 15 seconds for VandeR. They don't want to go then, they want to go now.
The unstoppable onslaught goes in. The quickness as well from VandeR. Not going to be enough just yet. That's a great step. Wunder's trying to slow everybody down.
Look at Rekkles.
But Rekkles is untouched. Rekkles has got a triple. Rekkles has destroyed Misfits.
Rapid fire auto attack, rapid! Oh god!
That's the quadra kill! One away from the pentakill! Give it to him!
I think Rekkles can auto attack Kobbe without going under the fountain laser. He's an absolute machine, and G2 in classic G2 fashion. They're ready for the dive, they want the penta!
And they're gonna not give it.
No!
You scumbag, Kobbe!
Another shot, what can they do?
More shot to make it work.
Game over.
G2 take down Misfits.
I believe if you go back through it all, the micro play from Kobbe was selling an item to buy a stopwatch to deny the penta. G2 walk away with the win, but Misfits, against all odds it seems like, made them work so incredibly hard for it.
There are no words. And when you look at the G2 player faces, maybe with the exception of Jankos, Mr. Serious at the moment, everyone else is having a good laugh. I go back to what we said in the game, to what we said last week, to what the analysts said today for Misfits. There are these moments that are just great, but there's no common thread to understand what they need to fix. Kia, player of the game, at LEC on Twitter, Caps, Rekkles, Mikyx. I mean, that was a hell of a fun game to cast.
Yeah, and for all the Senna players out there, stop playing our AD carry. Support.
Thank
you. Get over 200 stacks. Easy peasy.
Exactly. It's about feeding the support. After the break, Rogue are looking to defend their top spot as they take on the young guns of Mad Lions. Pew, pew, pew.
I think like Trimmy will be a pretty good support for sure, but I don't think he will be as good as a VandeR off the bat.
Port dropping, Armut looking for the ball, but it comes the flash forward to finish the shutdown.
Kaiser is incredibly talented, so it's for sure gonna be scary facing Kaiser and Mad Lions.
Maybe they can collapse on the flank guards and push forward with the coin to give himself a little bit more space. Immediately, Olaf going into the pit. They see it, they smell the blood in the water. jeszcze nie jest koniec. Ostatecznie pierwsza krew ląduje w rękach Kedujego, ale Ignite ściągnie do grobu biednego zwyrojaki, zresztą Pelkę i ten dive był tragiczny! Trimby!
I think the big turning point for Rogue is Trimby.
They're trying to jump in. Great shockwave to knock back two of them. Rebels looking, but it's a double kill for arguably the MVP of Rogue. Trimby says, I'm the carry now, as he jumps straight back in with the Senna blade. They will! The triple kill! Ultra Liga with their first EU Masters title!
MVP in the series for me, Trimby. I think he's been popping off. Yeah, what more can you want on your resume? You know, wins EU Masters, really high in solo queue. It's kind of like the best thing you need from a player.
Winning EU Masters, that was the happiest man alive. And yeah, here I am playing in LEC. It's something that I could be only dreaming of before. I am here and I want to show that I'm really good at what I'm doing.
Gotta say, immediate call out to Trimby, brand new player on the lineup, not missing a beat. They're just good, but for now, Odoamne going to be leaping into the fight. The follow-up is there. The dunk back down. Rogue certainly taking priority, but Patrick looking to make the difference as Trimby's in the midst of it. Everything, and Larson is just throwing down damage left and right. Moonstone be damned.
Every time I face a person that I was admiring or like look up to, it feels really exciting to try to challenge yourself. I just want to show that I can be better.
Yeah, it's going to get stunned up as Trimby walked away from the lane for a moment, and Hunsummer was left all alone. The heal comes out. Upset still has his flash if he wants to go forward, but very respectful that Inspired is on his way.
I'm really glad where I am, but I still need to work a lot just to give the best League of Legends that I can give and just enjoy every single second of the game.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Analyst Desk. Last year, Rogue and Mad Lions took Europe and the world by storm, and in 2021, they're featuring even more young talent. Of course, these are two rosters that made it all the way to Worlds with a lot of new blood on their rosters last year. And coming into this year, they made some changes. One example was Trimby, who we just saw a wonderful feature about. And let's maybe to kick things off, I'd love to hear from you what you initially thought about the swap. You know, VandeR, the experienced player, going out and this new player coming in, and what you think now after a couple of weeks of seeing this team play together.
I wasn't really so sure because I don't follow any of the up-and-coming talent inside of Europe, which is actually also why I'm always so surprised, because it just seems like there's an endless pool and it reminds me of China and Korea. But obviously after seeing Trimby for quite a while, I immediately just think, I mean, this guy's a little bit of a savant, and you don't really need to look too far. Just look at his champion pool and look at his gameplay, and I mean, it does it for it.
Yeah, absolutely. A myriad of champions played and very aggressive from his first minutes on the Rift, which is always something you love to see from a new player.
Yeah, especially when it's more aggression than defensive play. I think that's the most important thing as a rookie coming into the league. I think that if they have that aggression, you can tone it down, like we said before. But I think that if a player is too defensive, too scared to engage, too much of a KDA player, then it's so hard to push them forwards to be an aggressive player. And I think that having that fundamental for the first couple of weeks of Trimby was pretty good. I think the first week that he played, he got caught out a lot from over-warding, overextending too much. But recently, in the last 2 weeks, he's been pairing up with Inspired much better, I think. Yeah,
Daddy has, and Rogue is really doing fantastic and is now in first place in the team so far. Let's talk a bit about Mad as well. They made a couple of changes, Armut and Elyoya, into the lineup. We know from last year that they were a team that didn't hesitate to experiment sometimes in the draft, throw curveballs at you, as well as play very aggressive at times. What do you think has been their identity so far, LS?
I think their identity is best characterized by a lack of identity. And what I mean by that is they seem to be all over the place. They're doing a lot of flavor of the month things. They're doing the Xayah blanket answer into Kai'Sa, which a lot of teams are doing, but it's completely only pulled from LPL. There's nothing really, it seems, in the Western scene that's glorifying that as a response. But that strikes me as really bizarre because Kai'Sa was actually the answer to Xayah and Ezreal when Xayah and Ezreal were flavor of the month during Worlds a very, very long time ago. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Armut, I remember thinking, who the hell is this guy at Worlds? Because he was so impressive. And now here in spring 2021, I'm not feeling that anymore. But he was so impressive at Worlds. So far in this split, I mean, the jungler has played a unique champion every single game. They're doing things like Seraphine, Ivern sometimes as well on their players and their champions. And it just seems like they're just trying to throw darts at a wall and see what sticks, but there's no identity.
I think that if you look at Mad Lions historically, they're a very innovative team. They always are ahead of the curve when it comes to the meta, like the Wukong picks, the Sonataris, all these things. They were really picking them up a lot last year. And I think that they're a very meta fundamental team. Like if something works and it's OP, Mad Lions is going to be on it 100%. And they try to implement different things here and there, but I think that their playstyle is just too over aggressive for the individuals. I think that either one player just has a bad game or has an inconsistent game, the team just falls apart. So I think that if all five players play consistently good, I think this team is a very, very strong team.
And of course, no man overboard so far for the Mad Lions. With these changes, you may think that it will take a little while to get completely on the same page, but now we are week 4, and this game versus Rogue is very, very important. And Rogue is an interesting one in that they get a lot of gold leads. It's out of control, but they don't necessarily fight you for it, LS. What do you think of that style of playing and getting your gold leads?
I think it's obviously pretty fine. It reminds me of Damwon during a period, and obviously they're the defending world champions maybe this year, but sometimes just letting your opponents blunder into you and not really being too keen on forcing the issue and whatnot is totally a fine way to play, especially if you're the one that gets to gravitate towards a better mid or end game. And right now, I mean, I think even coming into this matchup, they're probably going to have a bit of an advantage or easier time doing that. I mean, if you've been seeing Armut's champion pool so far this split, it's baptized in hell. So no, I'm thinking that Rogue's probably going to have a better mid and late game.
Armut the Sinner. But I think Rogue especially, I think we looked at it on the LEC playbook as well especially, this team is not afraid to accelerate the game, even if they're going to give up things. So they're not going to sit in their lane phases, top mid bot until 16, 17 minutes and then start fighting over Drakes. They're going to lane swap at minute 8 straight to Herald. They're going to start hitting your top tier towers. If you go for Drake, you know all 3 lanes are going to be pushing into you and they're going to be trading it for gold. So I think the most important thing about Rogue is you might not see them fight too much, but if you look really carefully at the fine details of what Rogue is doing, whether it's mechanics in team fights, the way they're moving around the map, their decision making on how they want to set up their lanes in the early to mid game, they're always getting advantages really kind of good in different ways.
Yeah, well, we might do a post-game analysis after this game, and maybe that's a Telestrator thing you could explore. We'll see. We're also going to cover the picks and bans right here on the desk, but we're going to take a little break first, but then we'll come back with Mad Lions versus Rogue. Poros, you didn't hear that. I didn't mess that up.
Miss.